Hey folks, this is Matt once again. We're back to another video, and this is a paid request for Ben. Thank you so much for that. For those interested, requesting any type of videos, random thoughts, streams, commentaries, video game playthrough for an hour, a full playthrough, review, re-review, whatever the case may be, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Do have a CashApp as well. Links are down below in the info box, and I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. For those who sent them, thank you. I do appreciate it. Now this is for The Defender, a 2004 film that this is a re-review. So I have talked about this in the past, but I'm perfectly fine with that because I feel I got a little bit better as a reviewer, a little bit, maybe not much, a little. So and it's always nice to revisit films and see if your thoughts have changed, not changed, if you could better articulate your thoughts on the subject, all that jazz. So I have no issues doing a re-review of something. And it was nice to rewatch this because I still do enjoy the film. Yes, there are some warts on it in terms of, it's not a perfect movie. It's not a flawless film. I would not put it in my top 5, maybe not my top 10 Dolph movies, but I do like the film for what it is. As a pretty straightforward, pretty fast-paced direct-to-video action film that does have a decent amount of action in it. While the action is not remarkable, it's not, John Wick or anything, or John Woo, or whatever the case. For a film around 2004 that was direct-to-video, there was a lot worse than this. That's why I don't feel it deserves a 4.8 in IMDb. I feel it's a bit low. Yes, again, there are issues here and there, but if you like Dolph Lundgren and you just like siege type of movies, it's not the original OG Assault on Precinct 13, but hell, I had fun with this more than the remake of Assault on Precinct 13. And maybe that one is a bit more well directed in the fact that I went to theaters. This one I just had more fun with. Now, I guess technically, it says this is the first film Dolph Lundgren directed. Now, from what I understand, from what I've heard, there's another film he starred in, which I do like, called Direct Action. I believe that's what, yeah, I did confuse Direct Contact. I think Direct Action, which the director is Sidney J. Furie. Sidney J. Furie, who did The First Iron Eagle, countless films. He worked with Dolph. I think Detention was a film they did together, among others. Now, I don't know if this is true, but I heard that technically Dolph co-directed Direct Action and was part of post-production. But Sidney J. Furie was the name as the director. Now, with this film, apparently Sidney was going to direct it, but some illness, something happened, and then Dolph came in, and so officially this became the first film he directed. And I do like him as a director. Not every film he's directed I've loved. Missionary Man, I think he did. I was not a fan of that at all, especially with the way that film looks. But Command Performance, I did enjoy. Skin Trade. Did he write that? That one in my... I have to look now. Did he... Who did Skin Trade? Sorry. He might have written it. Okay, yeah. He didn't direct it. He wrote the film. Is this a film you want to do for a while? Yeah, he was written by. He was one of the writers. It's kind of the story he had for a long while to do and make into a movie. Maybe that's why I was surprised he didn't direct it. Anyway, I've liked a couple films he's directed, and I thought for a first-timer, he did what he could with the budget he had, with the limited resources he had. He did keep the movie going and flowing quickly. Yet the film is under 90 minutes if you take out the end credits. There's a bit of a build-up, about 20-some minutes, and then when the siege happens, it has that feeling of people are really coming out of the woodwork. So it doesn't make it feel like they're being attacked on all sides. And it has a little bit of that relentless quality to it, which I do appreciate. Especially in this siege type of movie. Now, before I go on, Dolph Lundgren, I love the guy. I've always been a big fan of Dolph. The Dolph. I Come in Peace is my favorite of his, but Red Scorpion, Rocky 4, Showdown in Little Tokyo, The Punisher, even direct-to-video, The Russian Specialist, which I think that's a film he directed, also known as The Mechanic with a K at the end. That's a very good revenge story. For a direct-to-video action film it is. And there's a few others he did direct. Battle of the Damned, as goofy as it is. Yeah, it's goofy, but it's him fighting zombies, and there's robots, and the robots are not the best special effects, but you have scenes with Dolph and robots side by side shooting the shit out of zombies. It's a B-movie fun in that. Just wish it had a bigger budget. Doesn't mean I love every film he's done, but yeah, I like the guy. I'm glad he is better. Just I think at one point he had, I forget what the technical term was, some type of cancer. Thankfully, it seems like it's benign, or it seems like it's good right now, which is nice. But I always liked him as an actor, as a presence, his voice, his mannerism, his look. I think he works well as an action hero. So it's great to see him as the lead here. The story of the film, since I'm almost 7 minutes in and haven't talked about it, he is part of this bodyguard group of people who protect the NSA advisor. There's a bit of a backstory where Dolph was in the Gulf War. He was with his men. He was captured. He was chained up. Firing squad. But he didn't get killed. The person on either side got killed. Those two. And instead he was beaten up, tortured, punched and blood spit out of his mouth, pictures taken, used as, I'm sure, some bargaining tool, something to that effect. They wanted answers, but he never talked. So nowadays, he's a bodyguard. You see he's got scars on his face from that. And yeah, I thought some of that I didn't mind the direction. Maybe a little bit of that 2000s flashy, a little bit too flashy. But I like you have this bit of PTSD that he has. Certain moments he'll see a dead body, he'll flash back, and there's this one bit where he's kind of looking down, and in the flashback he sees all these dead bodies on the ground, and it's done in black and white, and a little bit creepy looking bodies, with the... It helps sell the bit of PTSD that our character has. So I didn't mind the way Dolph did that. So now the new job is him and 5 other people, the 6 of them. Actually, I'm trying to think. There's Dolph, there's this lady named Kay, there's this guy who's trying to be like the funny one. Yeah, I think there's about 6. And that's another issue. They don't really delve into the backstory, into the development of the other characters on the team. So when they get killed or anything, you're not really going to care. Because they didn't really do much of anything to develop strong feelings for us to give a shit about them. For me, honestly, though, if I go to a film like this, I'm more concentrating on Dolph. Would it have been nice to see a little bit more development on the other characters? Sure. Maybe I'm being lenient on it because it is a direct-to-video film, and yeah, I'm not expecting the level of theatrical production, so I could be a little bit lenient on certain things. Especially if you do your main job well, and again, I think it's fun enough to have this amount of action that does make it at least entertaining on some level. So anyway, they're supposed to take this NSA lady, this advisor, to this remote hotel in the middle of nowhere, and it's supposed to be the secret meeting, and no one's supposed to know that we're here, and she's not even going to tell Dolph who she's meeting. So as she goes into the meeting, Dolph is with the guy's kind of bodyguard, and a little bit of awkwardness, sizing each other up. And let's say you have about 20-some minute or so build up until the shit hits the fan, and this relentless group of people come in to try to kill and siege into the building. So whether it be the first strike with snipers and one of the men get killed, shot in the neck, or like this area that gets shot and killed. And Dolph, shooting with a gun. There's a guy breaking his arm, kicking this other guy. There's this kind of kitchen area. There's a grenade. He throws it back. You get a practical explosion. There are people rappelling through the window, and he's shooting through them. And another guy grabs and stabs the guy in the stomach. There's another bit where one of his men get killed, so Dolph takes a sniper rifle and just shooting, and he gets a couple of them. They find some secret bookcase that they're able to get through these tunnels that are underneath the hotel, and they try to find the NSA lady and the guy she's beating. And it's one of those movies that has a little bit like twists and turns as to who is what and what's really going on, which I didn't mind. It at least kept things a little bit more interesting plot-wise. I guess one thing I haven't mentioned yet, I'll cut back to the President of the United States and his Jerry fucking Springer. Yes, may he rest in peace, but from the Jerry Springer Show, Jerry Springer is the president. I guess you would call it stunt casting. Very weird, random choice, but that's kind of what made it fun for me to watch. I mean, it's Jerry Springer being Jerry Springer, so if you don't like him, it's not going to change anything. I just think the novelty of it is kind of fun, that Jerry Springer is the president. And, it's not believable. I mean, I believe it. And I especially got kicked out of when at the end he's like, "You fucked with the wrong president." I'm not going to sit here and say he's on the level of Bill Pullman, Independence Day, or Harrison Ford, Air Force One for movie presidents. I just think it's fun that they cast him in that. Now, before I go further, are there issues with the film? Sure. The music, the score isn't the best. There's times early on when they are kind of on their way. They've gotten to the hotel, they're kind of waiting around. This music starts playing that sounds like porno music. So I don't think the score was really the best part of the movie. At times when the action happens, it's a little bit too shaky. I kind of wish there was a little bit more variety. I mean, Dolph at one point uses a sniper rifle, but I wish he could have used other weapons too. Like maybe he runs out of ammo, and then the bad guy here has a shotgun, so he takes a shotgun and starts shotgunning bad guys. Or that runs out, and then someone has a machine gun, so he has a machine gun and shooting bad guys. I wish they kind of played around with that. And I mean, compared to streaming nowadays, where they tend to do a little bit more of the John Wick type of action, that does outshine the action in this, yes. So if you look at Day Shift with Jamie Foxx, I have not seen the film, I have not been requested the film, but Havoc, I saw a clip on YouTube. I mean, well, that's the guy who directed The Raid. So that's going to be more well shot action wise than this. I just like that there was a decent amount of it, and it was done for the most part practical, and real explosions and stuff. And like I said, the chaos of it was, it definitely felt like they were being closed in, and they're closed in the hotel, then they're closed in the tunnels, and really felt like they just had to keep just 2 steps away from and 2 steps ahead from the bad guys that keep following them. I did like that feel of it. And Dolph does get a pretty decent body count of bad guys. I didn't. There's a couple times he uses physical martial arts, not a whole lot though. Would like to have seen more of that. Well, spoilers, heavy spoilers. What you come to find out is, at first, you think that the guy they're meeting is this terrorist that we've seen in news parts earlier in the film, named Jamar. And of course, Dolph is pissed about this because, he was tortured by this guy, his men. Then you kind of find out, no, that's not really the guy. He's a CIA guy, and then his bodyguard is an MI5 guy from London. And actually, this has all been part of a plan, a ploy to fish out the group of people that are trying to have a conspiracy to topple the presidency. Because the president wants peace talks, while there's other people that want more war, thus that you have more of war profiteering. So all has been a ploy, a plan to fish those people out into the limelight. And I remember thinking, okay, this is at least interesting enough to try some whether they work or not for you, that's up to you. They were fun just to shake it up a bit. And then you find out, heavy spoilers, that there's a mole in the group, and it's the girl, Kay. She's the traitor, because she thinks the president's too weak, and what are we doing, and she thinks those are terrorists, and why are we working with them? And yeah, you have like action scenes in the tunnel, you have some explosions in there, you have some bits where Dolph and the MI5 guy, they punch and beat the shit out of some of the bad guys. They get to the outside, they're shooting bad guys who are in the trees. The cavalry arrives. The girl tries to kill Dolph. At this point, it's just Dolph and the NSA lady left. He gets a knife, throws her right into her chest, kills her. And again, I guess it goes into, what are you expecting when you go into this film? You think of the time it was made, 2004. The kind of films that were being made, the kind of budgets that they had. I mean, I would guarantee films like the streaming services today, they get more money in budgets than this film did. I would pretty damn sure figure this had a very small budget. That's why it had to be shot in a different country. And there's certain shortcuts that you had to take here and there. And then again, if a director was going to do it, but then I don't know how last minute he had to pull out and Dolph was put in. But I think with all those circumstances against it, Dolph had that good, sturdy, serious vibe to him. The plot moved fast enough that I was never bored. When the action scenes happened, they didn't have the right amount of chaos. Like I said, to make you feel as if, well, they're coming out of the woodwork. Oh, shit. And I thought it was fun for a siege movie. I thought it worked for what it needed to do. Jerry Springer, interesting gimmick as the president. I liked it. Some people may not. Yes, I would like to see a bit more variety in the action. Again, Dolph using different weapons. Maybe a little bit less shaky cam. A little bit more development on the team. The music could have been improved. So there are issues. So yeah, if I think like a Dolph Lundgren like top 10 like icon pieces number one, and then in no order, like Rocky 4, The Punisher, Showdown Low Tokyo, Red Scorpion, Universal Soldier, they would be in there. Men of War would be in there. God, I have to look at them filmography because I know I'm missing stuff. Silent Trigger is a fun one. Like, okay, Silent Trigger is a better directed movie, but this has more action. So you just kind of like, but that when the action's there, it's definitely better handled because you got Russell Mulcahy directing. So it just depends on what you're more in the mood for, what you're willing to look past, so to speak. But I would say if you like Dolph Lundgren and if you're a sucker for siege films, which I am. I mean, Aliens technically is a siege film. The original Assault on Precinct 13 is a siege film. From Dusk Till Dawn is a siege film. Feast, that's a horror film from the two. That's a siege film. VFW, direct to video, that's a siege film. I'm a sucker for that. They could be a lot of fun. I don't know why this movie pops in my head, but One Shot, for some reason, that One Shot reminded me of this with Stat Atkins. And I would say I like that one more than this. And that's a film I want to rewatch now, One Shot. But I still liked it. I still don't think it's a 4.8 out of 10 bad. I mean, that's like Steven Seagal level bad. I don't think it's that bad. It's fun. It has flaws, but if you want to see Dolph shoot the shit out of a bunch of people, a bunch of bad guys, Jerry Springer, the president, when it gets going, it goes pretty fast until the end of the film without not too many breaks. There's a lot worse things you could do on a rainy night. I'll put it that way. So it was nice to rewatch this again. Because it's been forever since. Well, I mean, it's whenever I did that review. That's the last time I saw it. So, which I mean, that was when I was back in Iowa. So that's been at least 6 years, at least since I've seen it. So with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. Thanks once again to Ben for the request, and we will see you guys later. Bye bye for now.